A manhunt is still underway for this man, 41-year-old Stephen Nicholas Broderick. It has shut down a significant section of northwest Austin, and neighbors were told to shelter in place for hours. That shelter alert, though, was just lifted. Now, police believe Broderick shot and killed 3 people this morning. He's now considered a fugitive. Police say you should consider him armed and dangerous. They also ask if you see him or if you see anything suspicious to call 911. Now, this deadly shooting happened just before noon near the intersection of Great Hills Trail and Rain Creek Parkway in the Arboretum Market area. And that contains Trader Joe's and Starbucks and many other businesses. Many of those businesses have been closed this afternoon. We do have team coverage tonight looking at the scene from different angles. And we start with Candy Rodriguez, who spoke with people who report witnessing the chaos.
Yeah, Jennifer, and as you mentioned, just in the last 20 minutes, police lifting that shelter in place, but neighbors here in the area were sheltered in place for over 5 hours. And for many of them, what started off as a normal Sunday quickly turned when Broderick shot and killed 3 people and went on the run.
I heard the gunshots outside, and I just thought it was just the trash, or you hear a million sounds in the city.
That's how Austin Ament and Taekwon Holloman described the shots that rang out in their northwest Austin neighborhood Sunday morning.
Our apartment is directly across the street from where the incident had happened.
The Arboretum Oaks apartment neighbors didn't know 3 people had just been shot and killed until they heard the sirens of ambulances and police.
A cop actually ushered us back inside, so just basically living through the phone after that.
While many neighbors had to shelter in place, others are stuck, unable to get home.
I'm just very worried that there's so many shootings these days, and now so many shootings close to home.
I was just thinking to myself, like, how crazy is it that we live in a country where you just gotta hope for the best, that the place you're at isn't gonna get shot up today.
Neighbors remain in shock.
We got a year off because of COVID, and now that things are opening up and people are going back outside, it's not time for this to start happening again. Like, this is not acceptable.
Yeah, and police tell us they'll be out here for several hours to come. They are still searching for Broderick this afternoon. And joining us live is Josh Hinkle, our very own Josh Hinkle, who was here first on the scene early today. And Josh, I know when we first got here, a lot of uncertainty because initially we thought this was some sort of active shooting.
Yeah, I started getting the neighborhood alert, so I just came down here because I actually live pretty close to this area. Wanted to see what was going on and see if there's something I could help with for KXAN. And what I found was this scene was quickly unfolding. It's been going on here for a little over 5 hours, and exactly what we have learned has been changing rapidly throughout the day. So I'm going to step out of the way so you can kind of see what's going on right now. This looks quite different than it did just a few hours ago when we had a much heavier police and EMS and fire presence. The FBI is out here as well. In the last 30 minutes or so, they have been lifting some of the police tape and the road blockades so emergency crews can get through. Great Hills Trail here, this street you're seeing, is opening up little by little. We've been seeing some traffic, but it's still not all the way through, so you still want to kind of avoid this area as we're going. The other thing about it, that we have been talking about was the shelter in place, and clearly that was something a lot of people that live in these apartment complexes, we were seeing them gather here, and a lot of them just standing around looking, asking questions, wondering when they're going to be able to go back home. And so that's kind of a little bit of ease for them as they're able to get back to their homes. We were also seeing this as a staging grounds for helicopters, and Austin police, as they were trying to get this search underway here when it was an active search for Broderick in the area. But now, since he's moved on to a fugitive search, they've also moved their search tactics as well. Jennifer?
All right, Josh Hinkle and Candy, thank you so much. Now, according to the Texas Rangers and Travis County court records, 41-year-old Stephen Nicholas Broderick is a former Travis County Sheriff's detective who was charged with sexual assault of a child last June. Now, that charge is a first-degree felony. He was initially placed on leave last summer after those charges. His bond at the time was set at $100,000, and the Texas Rangers were investigating. Now, at this point, we don't know if that case has anything anything to do with today's shooting. Before he worked for Travis County, Broderick also worked for the Bastrop County Sheriff's Office. KXAN News had reported on a March 2013 shooting involving deputies with that office, and Broderick was identified as one of the officers on the scene. Now, KXAN's Jayla Washington was following police at the scene as it progressed. She joins us now. And Jayla, what can you tell us?
Hey, Jennifer. Well, I can tell you that just literally about 5 minutes ago, we stopped hearing those choppers overhead that we've heard circling around the area for at least the past several hours. Now, they have been searching high and low. We're less than half a mile away from the original crime scene right now, and you can see that the area that they've been searching is extremely wooded. Now, we've spoken to neighbors who tell us that they've seen SWAT units swarming their apartment complexes, parking lots, and we've also spoken to a lot of people who have been trying to get home for the past several hours who weren't able to because of the road blocked off and obviously the shelter in place.
You can get up one day and you don't know what's going to happen. Just kind of keeping a lookout and stay safe.
Now, Kim, the lady that you just heard from, her kids are safe at home with their dad. Obviously, that shelter in place has been lifted, but with the suspect still being on the loose and police now calling this a fugitive search, this obviously is a very fluid situation that is changing pretty quickly. I'm live in Northwest Northwest Austin, Jayla Washington, KXAN News.
All right, Jayla Washington, thanks so much. Now, this is a picture showing drivers trapped on Loop 360 after police shut down the road. Police shut down this street from Spicewood Springs to 183 as they investigated. Our traffic map system showing the area has returned to its normal flow of traffic for the most part after hours of gridlock there in the 360 and 183 area. Of course, we will continue to following this developing story during this newscast on KXAN as well as KXAN.com. You can check there for the latest.